Well, hello. The news has just dropped. Kristo, he's a free man. He is a free man. Sanity has prevailed. Have a look at this. Breaking news from Xenophon Davis is the law firm representing Friendly Geordies and, of course, Kristo. Police withdraw all charges against Kristo Lanka at court this morning, plus costs. Thanks to all the Friendly Geordies crowdfund supporters and the Wise Council, so they had their barrister. Yes, all charges were dropped against him. I mean, it was a ridiculous charge. We all saw the video footage. So it's interesting that has not hit mainstream media as yet either. Interestingly enough, I'm just trying to see if I can find it on mainstream media. But yes, it's all been dropped. So here's the thing: what does that mean for Bruz now and his lawsuit? Now, interestingly, because we know that he subpoenaed Google Australia, Bruz. And their subpoena is not due until just before their court case. And I'll show it to you. We'll just do that. How are you, the fox? It's a lovely, it's bit overcast, but the sun's out. It's a lovely day. So yeah, Kristo is free. The cops involved. Well, I don't know whether they're going to be charged for breaking the law. I think they should be charged for wasting time. So yesterday there was a return of a subpoena. So return of subpoena. So there were some orders issued. Subpoena addressed to Google Australia be adjourned to the return of subpoena list before the register 9:30 on the 16th, on Wednesday, the 16th of March. Now, interestingly, the case starts on the 21st of March. So that only gives them 4 days. Leave be granted for parties to approach registry for consent access orders made across the chambers. So that gives them, so if we have a look, the subpoena is due on the 16th of March. The hearing starts on the 21st. That gives them 4 days to view whatever is in that subpoena. But this is the subpoena that Bruz Googled Australia. Now, did anyone see Friendly Geordie's latest video with Kevin Rudd? That was an interesting one. In my opinion, the cops could be done for a legal search, falsely. Oh, they could do. Based on what I've based on my less than 4 days of studying law, they could have. I'm doing torts this afternoon. I've just listened to a whole pile lecture on torts. Was there harm done? Was there loss? Yeah. You saw Rudd and FJ? Yeah, cool. There's 7 people watching. Hello, 7 people. But it's interesting that but the really sad thing is the police the police have got to pay his costs, but the police, essentially the taxpayers, are paying for it. Why it should, in my opinion, it should come out of those officers' pockets, but and that should be, for me, that's another investigation. I won't say anything So these are some of the comments. So let's have a look at some of the comments. Thank you to the person that tagged me. Somebody tagged me, and I won't show them because they should be working. Great news. Wasn't this charge both an abuse of process and abuse of power, possibly to countersue for damages? If the police sue supposedly to deter others, shouldn't we countersue to deter the police? It was clearly politically motivated and a clear abuse of power. Can ICAC investigate? Can New South Wales Police be sued for wrongful arrest? And what are Kristo's next steps, given we've all seen the arrest? I mean, could he... New South Wales Police should be ashamed of themselves. Another disgraceful episode. Occasionally my faith in the law is restored. And don't forget, funny how the Commissioner, the Minister and the Deputy PM are all gone now. They'll never admit it, but this was a whole and relentless pursuit of justice. So I'm honoured, the Fox. I should actually be studying myself. I actually was in the middle of listening to a lecture on definition of what law is, and I got the notification and I was quick smart out of there. So, as I said, there's none of the mainstream media have picked it up yet. They're probably all still typing it up or trying to work out what to do, because none of this is, and with what's come out about Dutton, what's come out about Dutton, like, they're going to know that the law, Kristo's been able to get off. But yeah. And then we've got Braz still pursuing Google. Yeah, well, I've got it. I've actually got it, like, him in the Google search here, and I keep refreshing. But yeah, he was appearing today. I forgot that he was appearing today. But anyway. I just find the whole Kristo. They know that it was incorrect process. Don't forget, they tried to remove Friendly Geordie's videos, the police, in all of this. So September was the last court appearance. My friend GoFundMe raised more than Dutton, and I am not worth 300 million. My friend. Yeah, well, a lot of people wouldn't donate because it is Dutton. I was hearing last night. I was reading a report last night that the Prime Minister went into Lismore, but he wouldn't speak to anybody that was not prearranged. And people had been standing there, and a couple with their kids can't live in their house, and they said all they were wanting was a caravan. They were hoping that either the state or the federal government could get them a caravan to live in while their house was being rebuilt. And neither the Premier or the Prime Minister wanted anything to do with them, but they were there for the photo opportunity. That just annoys me. That makes me really angry when they do that. Why not face the ire of the people? Yeah, but he's the Prime Minister, the Fox. If he wanted to talk to people, he could say to his entourage, I want to talk to them. Oh, let's just face it. I'd be the worst nightmare for an entourage, because I'd be talking to everybody. They'd be going, it's time to go. it's time to go. And I'd say, no, I haven't finished talking to everybody yet. So I'd be going, we just got onto the cricket. I'd just be talking away. Oh dear. Oh, that's right. Don't forget the police in the Lanka case had to resubmit all their stuff. They had to go back to court because they'd filled out the documentation wrong. Oh dear, what a shambles. That's all I can say. What a shambles. Someone needs. Oh. You mean he's not a servant of Murdoch? I thought he was a servant of Murdoch. He's there to serve the public. So it's all very interesting. Anyway, I just really wanted to make this one a really short one because I didn't want to be on here too long because, as I said, I'm studying. But also to let you know that I had to have an ultrasound the other day, and they found fibroids, and so that's why I'm having some issues. So waiting to get my appointment so I can get that dealt with. But that's what. That's the current thing that's wrong with me. A long list of stuff that's wrong with me. He can be a servant of Murdoch when Murdoch pays him. Well, I mean, it's not as if Murdoch would pay any tax because I'm sure he'd have a Cayman Islands account somewhere, or he's being tax free or something. Certain of that. Allegedly, I'd be amazed if he paid tax. Well, he gets all the tax cuts. Tell me, how can you get your tax cut? How can you get tax cuts if you don't pay tax? Can somebody explain that to me? Because I'm a bit baffled by that. Can someone explain that to me? Murdoch gets paid by Morrison. Oh, also, Djokovic can't get into the US. The US have banned him because he's not vaccinated. Isn't that interesting? So, yeah. Something that Kevin Rudd said yesterday. It's just appeared in my feed. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. Oh, the other thing is, did you know? I haven't seen the Sammy J clip. Because also Mark McGowan is currently in Sydney in his defamation case. So I can't find it now. Let me find it. It's it backs up exactly what Rudd said in Friendly Dory's video. So this is somebody that's done this. It's just a screenshot, but it said, when asked about the lackluster flood mitigation efforts across Australia before this flooding event, Morrison said this is primarily a state responsibility. Remember Rudd said that he just passes the buck and he just blames the states for everything? Well, that's it. There we go. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, apparently there's all these private text messages that Mark McGowan sent to people where he's bagged Clive Palmer, but I'm sure that Clive Palmer's got text messages bagging Mark McGowan to people. Let's just... Are you going to tell me that Clive Palmer hasn't said anything nasty in text messages about Mark McGowan? Oh, but anyway, I know we're just going all over the shop at the moment. According to the Age, the flood-affected communities won't forget how they've been treated at the election. It still hasn't been called yet. Do you think he's waiting for the last minute? On Monday nights, I have to go across the Westgate Bridge to the other, to the eastern suburbs, and every Monday night, I have to pass a Frydenberg sign. I hate it. And it's up above a building, so you can't even deface it. You put them all up. Oh dear. Oh, it's quite amusing. Hello, Bella. Sorry, it was a last minute one. I was just talking about the fact that Kristo had all these charges dropped. So yeah. Good morning. How are you going, Bella? It's a beautiful day in Melbourne today. I mean, it's a little bit overcast, but there's some sun. So the only media outlet that has actually covered the Dutton video, Dutton story, is Independent Australia, believe it or not. Independent Australia has done an article, Friendly Geordie's allegations against Dutton met with silence. It's got 46 comments, 31,000. And essentially it's talking about, is this the mainstream news media refusing to admit Friendly Geordies has beaten them to a scandal, or is Defence Minister Peter Dutton being protected from scrutiny by his mates in the media? As of writing, so it'd be a lot more now. This was on Monday. Oh, look, that happened to me the other day. But anyway, the Independent Australia has done it, and it says the Sydney Morning Herald and Courier Mail reported Ryan Shaw's decisions to step down from his Lily candidacy on Wednesday, but haven't run any follow-ups since Friendly Geordie's video went live on Friday. No mainstream media outlets that I have been able to find have mentioned the allegations made in the video, despite these allegations being evidenced with a series of damning leaked photos and emails. On Sunday, by chance, Peter Dutton was interviewed at length by David Spears on the ABC's Insiders program. It is true there is much on the Defence Minister's agenda, what with the war in Ukraine and Queensland and New South Wales floods, but there was plenty of time for at least one question about the Shanks allegations in the video. The Minister is not meant to define the agenda of the interview. The whole point of such questioning is to hold the Minister to account. This opportunity was missed. So what makes this story so untouchable by mainstream journalists? It is true that journalists are able to use their own sources to verify the details, like these stories, rather than solely relying on Jordan Shanks's interpretation of the scandal. Yet it is also true that once there is a whiff of a scandal, usually journalists waste no time piggybacking off any allegation they can get their hands on to demand that the politician has questions to answer. Many will complain the problem is the mainstream media's lack of scrutiny of the Liberal Party, Liberal government, full stop. Too many journalists, particularly at Murdoch outlets and often at Nine's formerly proudly independent Fairfax outlets, are far too willing to allow the Liberal government to use news media as propaganda rather than its actual purpose, scrutinising the government. That is surely a problem. Perhaps, too, another related reason for the lack of interest is that Friendly Geordies is no friend of the media establishment. Perhaps mainstream journalists see it as below them to use Jordan Shanks as a source of newsworthy tips. Perhaps it is too embarrassing to be a journalist working for a major news outlet and having this scandal going on right under their noses, but not to have had the talent and contacts to dig it out for themselves. Whatever the reasons, which are complicated and multifaceted, at the end of the day, the audience is the ones being let down. The public have a right to know what their political leaders are up to and to use that information to make smart decisions when they vote. Whatever role Dutton has played in the scandal, he should be answerable to the public. And if the news media refuses to even mention the story, let alone pressure Dutton to explain his involvement, then that is a very sad day for democracy. I agree. And it still hasn't been touched. So the only thing that we can do is make sure that we tell everybody to check out Friendly Geordie's video. Let's just see how many views it's had. Because surely, I know that I've sent it to people and said, watch this. You have to watch this. You have to see this. And tell me what you think. And because it is evidenced, because there is evidence, it has credibility, in my opinion. I'd like to hear what he would have to say. $378,000 views since Friday. Hello, Alberta. So this video today has had 378,000 views, and yet mainstream media won't touch it. Why? Why won't mainstream media touch it? That's a Friendly Geordie's video about a politician who is, it smells of corruption. We don't know. There's no allegation that he's involved in corruption. Just the people that he hangs around with are going to have some questions. He's got some questions to answer about the company he keeps. They are chicken. I mean, I noticed the other day, though, Friendly Geordie's put out a short, and it was about the tubular vacuum and the white powder in the tubular vacuum. And I thought that was very clever to get to do a video about that. So we have an election coming up this year, and I would have thought that a federal minister hanging around what would be people sniffing white powder would be questionable. But apparently it's not. When you've got I think isn't Peter Costello one of the board members on Nine? And you've got the next federal treasurer on the board of one of the media outlets, and you've got Rupert Murdoch as another one. There's not much. The government's usually untouchable. He's probably enjoying his own sugar. Possibly. He could be. It was definitely shocking. So as I said, and there's still nothing. There's been no date yet, Bella. He's not set a date. There's no election date. He's out campaigning. I believe South Australia's got an election in a couple of weeks. I think he's waiting to see how that's gonna go. Well, considering that the minister in question was an ex-police officer in the Queensland Police. But yeah, but Bella, there's been no date set. Everyone's still speculating. He's running out of time. He's literally running out of time. Because according to the Constitution, it's got to be, I think I went through it on a video, but he's definitely running out of time. So, but yeah, I think ScoMo's waiting to see how South Australia goes. There is word on the street that it may possibly could be a new government in South Australia. So if for example the Labor government gets in South Australia, then he could be a little bit in trouble. But he can't delay it. Like he just can't delay the inevitable. You have to have an election. He should have done it. He should have. Well, I don't know that you can get much worse than what we've got. I think Friendly Geordies did a video today where we went from being in of the top 10, we were number 7 of the least corrupt nations, and we've gone down to 19 or something. So yeah, things aren't good. Hello. About half an hour, Terry. We just talked about Kristo. So all the charges were dropped and the police have to pay costs. There's nothing about yeah, well, ScoMo loves Trump. Yeah. I don't know whether Kristo is going to seek compensation or whether he's going to whether there's going to be anything for unlawful arrest, or I don't know whether any of that's going to I don't know what the next steps are. They're probably talking about their next steps, but the good news is that all the charges have been dropped. I was surprised they still took they even charged him after the video got out, where we all saw that what was alleged to have happened didn't happen. And remember, also, Bruz has now that Bruz has left Parliament, he's a nobody. So, he's a nobody. And so with all these other questions in it, it could simply be a case of the police trying to dissociate themselves. I don't know. It's just really weird. But no one's reporting on it. No one's reporting on the fact that he's He's been released. No one's reporting on that. Someone on Twitter says Scott Morrison provided more assistance to Jerry Harvey 2 years ago than he has to the people on the north coast of Australia during the disaster. Let that sink in. But as I said, I always hate it when they do these pre-assigned press conferences and they don't want to talk to the people, because the people affected, because they're going to get lots of angry people. I mean, I don't know how he expects them to react. People are losing their houses. People have lost their houses in flooding. They're not going to welcome you with. It's not as if they can welcome you into their homes. They don't have them. So, yeah. What's going on with KJ's latest clips? I don't know. I don't know. She I was just reading, and I've got all my information from Twitter. That she was talking about the new cult that she's on, but apparently the parents and one of the people she's covering have had a get together, and it happened while she was live, and she didn't know about it. So I don't know. I'll have to try and work that out. Australia has enjoyed. This has been shared on TikTok. This is about, apparently, Go Friendly Geordies. Yes, Karen. I know. I can't stay much longer because, as I said, I've got to study because I've got a class this afternoon. And anyway, this is going around. Apparently, this has been shared on TikTok by the younger generation. This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. It's coal. It was dug up for over 100 years. The Deputy Australia has enjoyed an energy competitive advantage that has delivered prosperity to Australian businesses and has ensured that Australian industry has been able to remain competitive on a global market. Mr. Speaker, those opposite have an ideological, pathological fear of coal. There's no word for coalophobia officially, Mr. Speaker, but that's the malady that afflicts those opposite. But it's that malady, Mr. Speaker, that is afflicting the jobs in the towns and the industries and indeed in this country because of their pathological, ideological opposition to coal being an important part of our sustainable and more certain energy future. So on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, you will not find a fear of coal. There you go. So essentially, that is all about climate change. But it is true. He did do that. He did take coal in. She's what? No way. Reading from her Bible? Is that the one that Frida ate up? She's not, is she? I'm gonna try and do this so I don't get done. Oh well, no, she's. Oh really? Oh, did she? I thought she ate her Bible. No, you can't. Oh, look, I just don't know what she's up to at the moment. I just cannot work her out, to be honest with you. It's not showing her as live, though, on my Instagram. Oh, it's on Llama. Oh, okay. Let me have a look. All right, we'll go. I'll go to Llama Girl because Llama Girl is amazing. Yeah, she's after that dancing group now. Let's have a look. Have a look at Llama Girl. What Llama Girl is doing. Oops. Well, Llama Girl is amazing because she looks after us all. By I'll find her. Where are we? Just all right. She's reading from her Bible. Was that yesterday? I heard stuff about. Yes, I did. I'm just reading it now. I'm just looking for it. So did she really read from the Bible? I did see that she quoted a Bible verse today as well. What? Why would you be, and a few other days also? Yeah. Wow. Oh, there's a Bible. Well, yeah, that's true. It's one of her holding her Bible. We'll bring her in. Oh, she will. Yeah, she's holding her Bible. I really thought she said in her story a while ago that it was it was her Bible that got torn up by Frida. But now it's Toad's Bible. All right, here we go. All right, ready? All right, she's flicking through her Bible here.
Nothing. They really don't like immoral women. You know, it's really odd how they spend all this time talking about immoral women. Where's the chapters on immoral men that are just like screwing all the immoral women? It's always the woman's fault because she's immoral. Proverbs was written by men, I'm sure.
Friendly joy, these guests I help you understand your government better, and oh my word, your news. Yes, Terry, he was a former Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd. Yeah. Did she just say Proverbs was written by men? Hang on.
Okay. There's the part about the prophets. There's a cool thing about false prophets here. Okay, so trust the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend upon your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. The Lord. It says to trust the Lord. It doesn't say to trust your pastor who's pretending to be the Lord. It says to trust the Lord. Don't be impressed with your own wisdom. Instead, fear the Lord and turn away from evil.
KJ, don't be impressed by your own wisdom. No way. She's quoting Bible verses. That's not the Bible verse. I've got to go back to here where she said Proverbs was written by men.
And letting your pastor become your father. Nothing. They really don't like immoral women. You know, it's really odd how they spend all this time talking about immoral women. Where's the chapters on immoral men that are just like screwing all the immoral women? It's always the woman's fault that she's immoral. Proverbs was written by men, I'm sure. Okay.
Proverbs was written by men, I'm sure. Yeah, most of the Bible was written by men. She never thinks before she speaks. Oh, well, actually, I don't know who was the original transcriber, but who knows?
Where's the part about the prophets? There's a whole thing about false prophets here.
There is a whole thing about false prophets. Is it is it Matthew 24? Talks about people will come proclaiming. That's Jesus talking Matthew 24. There's also, is it Paul in a couple of his letters? Was it I'm just going off the top of my head here, and I think it was right throughout the New Testament, but she picks Proverbs.
Okay, so trust the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend upon your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. The Lord. It says to trust the Lord. It doesn't say to trust your pastor who's pretending to be the Lord. It says to trust the Lord. Don't be impressed with your own wisdom. Instead, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It doesn't say not to trust your own wisdom and turn away and fear Israel. It says
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but her interpretation. Oh. Hey, Laura. Oh.
Fear Israel. It says to fear the Lord. He is not a God.
Hang on. Did she just say the Lord's not a God? Oh, boy.
Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the best part of everything you produce. Then fear the Lord. Turn away and wisdom. Instead, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It doesn't say not to trust your own wisdom and turn away and fear Israel. It says to fear the Lord. He is not a God. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the best part of everything you produce. Then he will fill your barns with grain and your vats with overflow with good wine. You don't have to give your pastor all of your money. True story. Jesus didn't love the church.
What?
He actually was like kind of against like the whole idea of a church.
realize that the early Christians actually started the church? It didn't happen until Jesus was resurrected. That the disciples actually met together and started worshiping together. And they met on the first day of the week, which is the Sunday, which is why Christians actually go to church on the Sunday as opposed to the Sabbath. Oh, sorry.
Your barns with grain and your vats with overflow with wine. You don't have to give your pastor all of your money. True story. Jesus didn't love the church. He actually was like kind of against like the whole idea of a church. He wanted just the world to be like a church. This idea of pastors thinking that they need to take your money. Like in the biblical days, did you know that tithing was like giving a part of your grain, or like if you were
giving a part of your grain? Yes, that's if they were farmers, or giving their fruits if they were. And how do you think they got it? By work. Oh. Again, tithing can be taken back to the Old Testament, but it's again oh, gee whiz. Oh boy. Do I actually need to do a whole video and correct her publicly? Do we just need to do a whole?
If you were a farmer, you would give them part of your corn.
Oh boy. Oh. Gee whiz, I've had my laugh for the day.
A butcher or whatever.
A butcher? They didn't have butcher.
You would give them some of your meat. I mean, that's what a tithe was in biblical times. It wasn't giving your hard-earned money. It was like a way to show devotion to God. It's not give your pastor 20,000% of your income, pay him rent and 20%, and on top of that, pay for all of his Bentleys.
The tithe is supposed to help support the work of the church. So there was tithing in the Bible. Now you've got to understand that a tithe was part of the Jewish law as well. So Jews had to tithe. And the tithing also went to orphans, widows, and sojourners. So that was what part of the tithing was as well. So he talked about giving faithfully rather than a certain number. So if you remember, if in the Jewish, it was Jewish law, and he was out against. He was so let me just give you an example. So he was at odds with the religious establishment, but so when Jesus specifically talks about the tithe, he focuses on being rigid in following the tithe while ignoring the weightier matters of what it means to follow God. So he brings about more about following God. So he said, beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. Then when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet, as the hypocrites do in synagogues and in the streets. Truly I say to you, you will have received their reward. Yes, she did disable comments. That's Matthew 6. As he sat down opposite the treasure and watched people putting money in the offering box, many a rich man put in lump sums, and then that's the parable of the widow. He told the parable of the poor tax collector about tithing, and Hebrews. In Hebrews, tithing is mentioned again. For me, it's about time, talent, and money. But what's really interesting is that yes, there are people that abuse. So these people that are driving around with Bentleys, they abuse the whole concept of the tithe. The tithe is supposed to go towards the running of the church. So it does pay our minister. It goes towards paying the salary for the minister, but then the money also goes into buying the food that's needed for the people that come and seek assistance. So to run our programs that we offer for free. It's just not about. She doesn't understand it. You have people that will abuse it, but not everybody abuses it. Anyway.
And they also say, beware of what the wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't know a lot about the whole world of like speaking in tongues, and I think if that's something that you do to be closer to God, that's between you and your
What's
Lord.
Speaking in tongues got to do with
What's
speaking in tongues got to do with anything?
I don't know a lot about the whole world of like speaking in tongues, and I think if that's something that you do to be closer to God, that's between you and your Lord. But when people start using the tongues in a means to discern and say that these tongues are revelations from God that are commanding me as him.
Oh, there you go. She's put the comments back on. Hello, Grant.
Tell you how to live. Where is that in the Bible?
Half of what she's just said is not in the Bible. Maybe I've got maybe I don't have. Sorry, I don't have the Katie Joy translation of the Bible. I've got several translations. I don't have the Katie Joy translation, which is obviously why I'm not getting it.
So I'm not against religion. I'm not against any of that. I'm just against like the misuse. So I'll answer a few questions. But if you're really going to like get upset with me for like saying the Proud Boys are garbage, you don't really have to tell me goodbye. You can just unfollow.
You can just unfollow.
They are not Calvinists, no. Yeah, see, that's the thing that bothers me is like, did you guys read the Gospels
Oh no.
of the New Testament?
Oh no.
The reason why I got so into God for a long time was because of the Gospels.
Oh, don't go there, don't. Oh no. Sorry, Roman Catholic, maybe I shouldn't be here, says Grant. That's all right. You can be what you're welcome. But we're just getting a very bad interpretation of the Bible here, that's all. I'm a Christian, so maybe I shouldn't be here either.
To be completely honest. Like, I just reading the Gospels and like reading just how cool Jesus was. And just like how he just loved everyone and he wanted everyone to be connected. He was the guy that wanted to hang out with the women that were selling their bodies and in the brothels, and he was like wanting to wash their feet. It's true, Ashley says that most people don't know how to think correctly.
He washed his disciples' feet. He didn't go out and wash everybody's feet from what the story in the Bible says.
India said that her mom just did a relentless campaign on social media, through the media, with other people from Nexium, as well as whistleblowers, to just dismantle the cult. And that's really what it took. Jesus didn't want him to buy a Bentley.
You mean Jesus didn't want you to buy him a Bentley?
The Wilkins family did hire a private investigator. They were not lying, you guys, when they said that they did everything. Watch the interview.
Still can't get over I cannot get over the fact she sat there and she's spouted all this stuff from the Bible.
I don't think that the Shins are as wealthy as they want you to believe they are. I want to show you something. This was Shirley Kim 6 years ago.
You know what yeah, but anyway. What else have we got here? Well, she's still got the Bible there. She's holding the Bible there. Let's see.
Involve issues over egos and money, generally. I mean, it's a non-denominational church and there's no one above him. This is Daydreams. I love you. I love you, best friend. So this is, someone just said, I see only one family that's saying that there's only a problem. That's not true either. Okay. She's smiling because she's a feminist. Feminists hate. If I don't smile, I'm accused of looking like a bitch. And then if I do smile, I'm told that I'm being insensitive. Why do people say that I'm not a trustworthy source? Because they're in cults.
So everybody that doesn't think that she's trustworthy, a trustworthy source, is in a cult now. So can we come up with a name? A cult name? Oh dear me. Look, I would have settled for her to say, oh, they're jealous, and they're jealous because I get all the facts and they didn't. But to say that they're in cults, really?
Because they're in cults. Because they're in cults. I have a lot of cults that don't like me, and then there's just other people that don't like what I report, but I don't actually have a credibility issue.
She doesn't have a credibility issue. Oh.
Okay, so yeah, they're in cults. I have a lot of people like from the IDLP that don't like me, people that are from the FLDS, people that are from polygamy, sex, all the various cults I've covered over the years. They just do not like me, and then they're committed to not liking me.
All right. So which one do we all fall under? I don't know. I don't think I fall into any of those.
Because it's odd, only their friends are and not their families. That's not true. B-Dash's ex-wife, like, does everyone ignore the fact that she has been sharing information in the comments and that she's spoken about his son? Does B-Dash's son count for anything?
Wowzers. Oh, all right. This is
I
a
mean, I
trigger
have a
warning.
TikTok account, but I don't think I have one TikTok account, but I don't. Someone was actually saying that I should like file claims against them. I'm not even on TikTok. I mean, I have a TikTok account, but I don't think I have one TikTok account, but I don't even have the passwords to anymore. And I think it has like 5 or 6 TikToks on it, but I don't even know how to get into it anymore. And then I have another TikTok account where I don't have anything on it, and it's just like to watch TikToks. But every time I've tried to post on TikTok, like people there are so mean to me, so I just don't post. I don't like the negative comments.
Is that because they're all in a cult?
Do they? I mean, I was told that a lot of TikTokers like credit me and stuff, so that's cool. Like, I don't care.
She does.
I feel like I'm too old for TikTok, if I'm being completely honest. Honestly, like, if I post a TikTok, it's literally like all of these comments like, you suck, I hate you, Katie, you don't belong here. And I'm like, okay, bye. It's why I don't go on Twitter either. Like Twitter, oh my God, I don't tweet. Twitter trolls are the worst.
She doesn't tweet?
Twitter's the worst. I like to go on to Twitter because like if you ever are like, I like to go to Twitter and like scroll the feeds when like breaking news is happening. Do any of you ever do that? Because like I follow so many journalists, so I like to go on to Twitter if like something is huge that's happening in the world, like what's happening in Ukraine, sorry, not the Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine. And I can go on to Twitter and I can like have all the different journalists that I'm following and I can get the news from them in like 250 characters or however many characters, and I can get it faster on Twitter because they're tweeting it in real time. So I do like.
No. Oh dear. Oh, I can't take much more of this. All right, let's have a look. She's talking about Reddit here.
I know. Reddit hates a lot of people, though. I tried to start my own Reddit, and I don't like Reddit. Reddit's so mean. Even when I go on to Reddit, people are like, I hate you. I'm like, okay, bye. Oh, Isaiah. Yeah, you sent me a picture. Let me see. Did I save it? It might be in my inbox, sweetie.
Sweetie?
Yeah, it's in my inbox. Yeah, so Isaiah was friends with Miranda. It's in my inbox. I can't get in there right now. You know what I don't like Reddit for, too? I was reading about this, but there was this woman whose ex-boyfriend was using Reddit to, like, spread, like, sex pictures of her from when they were dating. And Reddit was, like, not taking them down. And I was like, how fucked up is that? Like, I wonder how many people misuse Reddit that way, where they're just, like, posting revenge porn. Like, gross. I didn't do a new video today. I didn't do any new videos on YouTube, sorry. I will tomorrow. You might be able to release a picture soon. Well, let me know if you find one. I know. Tomorrow I'm going to do a Sister Wives video, and I want to do a cooking with Christine video, and I want to do a Duggar update for you guys. We could do a YouTube live stream. I've never seen a picture of him. He doesn't want pictures taken of him. Isn't that weird? My biggest audience is on YouTube. I have 223,000 over there.
There we go. All right. I think that's enough. Oh yeah, she's sending everyone to a YouTube channel. Anyway, that's I think I'm out now. I don't think I can watch this anymore. Oh, here's her story on the church again. So let's see if it's changed.
If you're stalking everything I do and you're creating fan pages to stalk everything I do, and you have a YouTube channel to talk about me, you're a fan. Can I explain my experience in its fan behavior? Okay. Okay, first of all, the church wasn't destructive. But anyway, I just want to put that flat out there. But the church was for sure one of those churches that was part of, so the pastor was from the Assemblies of God. That's what he grew up in. So Pentecostal, charismatic. There was no speaking in tongues.
Hang on.
There wasn't anything like that. The worship music was very similar, but it wasn't as long.
Hang on. Most Pentecostal charismatics do speak in tongues, but anyway.
If you're not familiar with charismatic Pentecostalism, a huge part of their services are worship, and they'll do worship music for 2 hours. I mean, I'm not kidding. You could go to a service for the Assemblies of God and listen to them play music for 2+ hours. That wasn't what it was. He kind of condensed it into an hour-long package. The way that it was structured was it was built on sort of using the Bible as a self-help guide. so what he would do was he would take passages from the New Testament, and he would take like one verse, and then he would build like a sermon around different verses, and then he would use those verses to prove his points for why these are like the rules. So initially when we joined, we were in kind of a tough spot. Like, we were going through a lot with our son. He was dealing with a lot of health issues, and we were just looking for like a community. We were new to where we lived, and we were like looking for friends. And I had been out of the church for a long time, and I thought, maybe we had gone through some stuff with our son. We were feeling like I was feeling really low. So I went to the church, and they were so friendly, and they were like getting me coffee and inviting me to everything, and sending me gift cards for coffee, inviting me for coffee, inviting me out. Like, I was so lonely that it just felt good to be connected. And so when we got into it, it was very gradual. So initially it was like, join a home church. So I thought that the home churches were just going to be like a way for us to reconnect as a church. But it turned into really like going to church on Sunday, and then on Monday going to home church, and then volunteering, and then on every other day doing something either related to church or with church friends. And somehow within like 6 months, my entire life was like consumed with church. I was leading Bible studies. Oh yeah, I had a Bible study. I forgot about that. I was doing Christian yoga twice.
Hang on. She was leading Bible studies?
3 times a week. I mean, all of it was with church. So far sounds like a normal church.
She's got no comeback for that.
So everything was church related.
Yeah.
And so it turned into everything was like about, every study turned into like nitpicking what everyone else was doing. And so I noticed over time, this is how I felt.
It was about nitpicking. Okay, well, isn't that what she does now? What everybody else does?
We were being told over and over and over again, like, to use the Bible, and then we would have these study sheets, and then we would be like, talk about someone in your life that isn't acting Christ-like in this situation, or talk about somebody else's problems. And so every church meeting we had, I felt like we were just like talking about how we were better than everyone, and then like everyone that wasn't a follower of us was like less than us. And there would be Bible studies where like, this was sort of, and then so sort of the big red flags was there was no leadership. It was a pastor and his wife. And then they didn't have any accountability. There was no board. We never got to see the books. We had no idea how much money was being spent because we never got an audit. We were members of the church, and they would never tell us the money that they spent.
I don't need to.
We were donating and tithing. And then on top of that, they wanted us to donate so that they could build a church. People in our church were not making a lot of money and going to the food bank to feed their kids, but then also tithing. And then the church was like never giving back. So they were always asking for us for our time, for our money, and for like all of our time. Like, it was so overwhelming, like how much time they wanted from us and how much money. And like, he would always say like, you don't need your family. This is your family. Like, build your family with your church. Build your family in your church. And he was the only pastor. And I remember asking him, like,
lots of churches only have one.
I was like, is there another, like, how does someone become a pastor? And, you know, he would just be like, well, we'll decide. And, like, do women get to become pastors? No. But she could be, like, the youth pastor, but she wasn't allowed to be a pastor of the congregation. He would say, like, I'm so not against gay marriage, but then he would do huge parts of the marriage series where he would say it was ordained by God for God to only have one man and one woman. So he would be like, yeah, I'm totally pro LGBTQ+, but if you're gay, you can't get married. So it was like
Oh, dear me. Oh, here we go. Sorry. It's church story.
Like, I was like, you're either going to be pro or you're not going to be. Like, you can't be both, you know? Just be one or the other. So, yeah, and nothing came immediately. So, I think the biggest point for me was, like, we got so invested and so involved. You know, I was volunteering. I literally every Sunday was I was taking new people on tours. I was showing them where where they would drop their kids off. I was greeting every new person that walked in. I was escorting families to the Sunday school.
Oh, it sounds like my Sunday.
So there was this moment where all of a sudden there had been two pastors, and one of the pastors decided to leave.
Hang on.
There was this really abrupt. And so we had put it.
Didn't she just say in the last clip that there was only one pastor and so therefore there was no accountability? Or have I missed a... So now we've got two. Where did we get the second one from?
So there was this moment where all of a sudden there had been two pastors, and one of the pastors decided to leave. And there was this it was really abrupt. And so we had put in all of this time and our energy, and like, the family is yours, it's all for you. But then as we started hanging out with people, we realized like how really conservative people were. So we got involved with a group of people that were literally like, all of them were homeschooling their kids. Some of them were doing courtships for their kids. It was crazy because I was like, how did I get into a church where I'm literally like I'm around people that are effectively fundamentalists that are going to control who their children marry. I'm like,
hang on a minute. How did the story now get to fundies? It sounds, her Sunday, when she was talking about what she was doing on her Sunday. So it sounds like my Sunday. So now she's saying that the AOGs are fundies. Is that what she's saying?
How did this happen? How did this happen? So you got people that were like, anyways, yeah, courtships. Yes. So anyways, there was a fight between the two pastors, and the pastor gets up on a Sunday and he was just like, so Andrew's just not going to be here anymore.
I've never heard this story.
Abrupt, and people were like, okay, like everyone loved Andrew and Samantha just because they were like very much about giving back. And I started to notice that like all the giving back that we were doing, we were paying for. And I grew up Catholic, so I don't know if you guys are Catholic, but growing up Catholic, the Catholic charities do actually a ton and they don't tell their congregation, like, you need to donate. The church gives you opportunities to volunteer for things that they host, but they're not like, you need to pay for it for us to do this. They use the budget from the tithing or whatever to do their charity. Well, this pastor was having us tithe, but then if we did charity work on top of that, we had to pay for it.
She just gave the perfect argument about why there's tithing. Why? Anyway.
So it was like, oh, we're going to do backpack for kids, but you have to pay for the $200 backpack for the kids. We're going to do presents for the kids. You have to pay for that too. We're going to sponsor children in Africa. You have to pay for that too. It was like, we want to build a church. So now you have to give us 10% on top of that, and more money for the church. And so when Andrew and Samantha left, I pulled Andrew to the side and I said, why do you want to leave? And because I just wanted to know, because I had a really tough day once, and my son was having a meltdown, and Andrew was really, really sweet. And so he was like one of the few at the church that was like really loving. And so I just said, like, why are you leaving? And he just said, like, I need to be a part of a church that isn't so concerned about itself or something like that. Like, I want to be a part of a community that's actually helping people. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was like a red flag. So then I started thinking about things. And so every year the sermons were the exact same. So we were listening to the same thing over and over and over again. So I would say to the pastor, like, aren't you going to go deeper into the scripture? Are we going to do the same series again? Could we do something more? And he was like, no. See, our church is built to bring people in. If you need to deepen your faith, join a Bible study.
Look at the smile on her face. Oh, really? Now she's... Oh.
He didn't want to do anything besides, like, bringing people in. His only goal was to bring people in. That's all he cared about, was saving people. He didn't care about nurturing people's spirituality or helping them strengthen their faith.
Yes, because more people in the pews means...
Okay, so during this time, I was trying really hard to be Christian and do all of the right things. And I think looking back now, I just wasn't, like, Christian. Like, I was trying so hard to, like, if I volunteered, if I did this, if I did that. In many ways, I did feel like I was trying to do all the right things so that I could believe. But then ultimately, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yes, Panchakriya, I would agree. It sounds like she was trying to take control of the church. And so when they didn't conform, it was a problem.
I don't want to I don't want to say the name of the church.
But she names the people.
It doesn't matter.
She's out of...
So anyways, when we finally left, we lost all of our friends because he didn't want to do anything more. And so when I approached him about that, he just kept telling people, like, if you don't like it, you can leave. So
just like what she does to people about her channel. If you don't like it, you can leave.
So after telling us for 3 years that our family was here, and if we did everything together, we would always have our family. And then, like, it was like, so now I'm telling you I need more after I've given you everything of me. And now you're saying, if you don't like it, you can leave. It was like a shot it was like a stab in the neck and like a heart. Yeah. So we left. And then I became an atheist.
And then well,
I tried to believe in God. I don't think it's like I faked believing in God. I think it's like you can't be black and white. I wasn't going there thinking I didn't believe in God. I wanted so badly to believe. We were involved for 3 years, and we got out in 2018, and we have not spoken to anyone from the church since. We lost all of our friends. We lost all of our whole community. Well, I lost all of my friends. All of my friends were at church. Every one of my friends was there. So when he said, like, if you don't like it, leave, like, it was like I felt like I was being held hostage. So, like, I had to stay in a situation that I didn't like, where I wasn't getting fed with what I needed, and yeah, lost everything.
did you hear Toad say he didn't lose his friends?
You know, I'm just happier without it. But I don't hate God. Like, I don't hate people that hate God. I'm happier without it. But you, if you want to believe,
Hang on. That makes no sense because I don't know.
Me not believing has nothing to do with that experience.
None of what she just said makes any sense whatsoever, in my opinion.
I'm not afraid of my child going to hell because I don't believe in hell. But again, I don't feel bad for you if you have God, and don't feel bad for me if I don't have God.
Oh, you've just been preaching about Jesus. Oh, here we go.
Just going through it myself, and just I had a boyfriend that was a Jehovah's Witness that lost his whole family. So basically, I was always an atheist. No, I give up. The black and white thinking. Ross? My husband's annoyed with Ross. Where's Ross? What's Ross saying?
Just being an arrogant Christian.
Oh, shh. Don't. He's not happy. I don't know what Ross is saying.
Apparently, Ross has been an arrogant Christian.
I no longer have respect for you.
Oh, no.
Don't. Now you know why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to make you guys stop believing. I don't like abuse in church. That's what I don't like. You're all annoyed with him. You love it. We love a ride or die husband. He's a ride or die husband. Don't shush him. King Todd. The trolls will make a video about how my husband was rude to people. Yeah, I'm definitely like not trying to tell people not to be like, I don't have an agenda to make you not Christian.
Doesn't have an agenda. Okay.
Like, most of my followers, I think I have a really strong base of both sides, and like any of my followers that have been here for any length of time know that I am so respectful.
There you go. I think we'll need to leave it on that note because I can't watch any more of that. Wow. That was pretty, yeah, unbelievable. So, all right. So based on that, I'm going to leave you all, and thank you very much for joining us. So good news is that Kristo has had all his charges dropped, and he's free. We all knew that he would be able, he would, because they were a ridiculous charge, and so I hope that Kristo takes it further. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you for joining me and sitting through our Bible study with KJ. That was excruciating, to be perfectly honest with you, because yeah, she would find faults in any church. I think she hates God because he gave her a sick child, and this is her. Does that make my God your God's boss? I don't know. As I said, you can believe in whatever you want to believe. I'm okay with that. But what I do, I get really angry when people, for example, like KJ, who says I'm an atheist, then grabs the Bible and starts using it, and then and everything that comes out is incorrect. At least gets things right if you're going to do it. Hey, that's how I see it anyway. Anyway, I'm going to, as I said, I've got to do some study before I have to go to work tonight. So I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you again next time. And make sure you see Friendly Geordie's latest video, by the way, too, because it will give you some understanding in how stuffed up the country is. All right. Bye for now.